10 years ago was dependent, 100 years ago was dependent. It doesn't make any difference whether you prolong the life of the world. If it is dependent, it's dependent. So that's why they say God is the sole and first cause, and intelligence is, though they are co-eternal, means God eternal, they are eternal. But being eternal doesn't necessitate being independent, to be independent. No, they were dependent. So I want to say the true philosophers and the acceptable and plausible philosophical explanations, in philosophical explanation, nobody said that God is independent and something else also is independent. No. Whether you philosophize in terms of creator and creature, creatures are dependent. Whether you say necessary and possible are dependent. Whether you say, from, as you said, is Plotinus, for example, one, and then from one proceeds intellect. Again, when it proceeds, still dependent on one, on the capital one. And also soul, when soul proceeds from the intellect, again, the soul is dependent on it. So this dependency is always remains as it is, as it was. It doesn't make any change. But I think the degree of dependence is very, very different. That's why philosophers explained the relation between God and the human being in terms of necessity and possibility. Orafa, the mystics, the Sufis, explained in the sense of the one truth and the one reality and the manifestation. So manifestations means states, means modes, means theophanies, means disclosures. My thirst, my hunger, my happiness, any other states, mental states and so on, are dependent wholeheartedly and deeply my own existence and my essence. They cannot go on. They cannot survive without my own existence, without my own essence. So it's a deeper, because just to show the deeper dependence, the deeper connection between the source and the rest, they turn to new ideas and turn to new theories.
Can't we say that after all, the one is the one in everything? It means that he is one in all eternity, and he can't become two. From the beginning to the end, he is the same. هو الأول والآخر الظاهر والباطن. From this perspective, even we can't say that there is opposition between one and many. Some Gnostics and mystics even say that about the reality we can't use the terms of one and many. It is beyond the concept of one and many. You see, the concept of one and many is human concept. This is concept. After all, even the one is concept. It's mafhum. It is concept. Because for this, some of them try not to speak even with concepts. La isma wa la rasma. It means that the reality as it is cannot be conceptualized even in the terms of one and many, because it's if we use this, we are obliged to resolve this opposition. But beyond this, in my opinion, there is, as some say, the silence or not thought no thinking, beyond mind. If there is some level, another level of knowledge or appreciation of the reality, we can, in my opinion, to escape from this dilemma of one and many. Because, after all, it's very, very, very complicated. The real one. Has the real one opposition? No. We couldn't imagine, because in non-duality there is no one, there is no another, there is no otherness.
I understand, but you see, if we, in the depth of our experiences, religious experiences, if we witness the reality, if we manage to have some access to reality, I mean reality, capital R, means the truth, the God. If we manage to have some kind and access to reality, God, now whether I want to describe it or not, if I want to convey the content of the content of my experience, because we believe that the religious experience is cognitive, means give you some knowledge about the reality. It is not only feeling, it is not non-cognitive. Here, of course, there is a room for much discussions. Some people advocate the non-cognitivisms of the religious experience. Some believes in cognitivisms of the religious experience. If you encounter this layer or this deep understand, this reality, deep reality, if you gain some knowledge and you want to convey your knowledge to me, to somebody else, you have no choice except to describe it. If you want to describe it, I do not say, when you describe, I have the same feeling and the same understanding and knowledge as you are, as you have, as you do. I do not say. But I think this point also is very important. But when you describe it, your descriptions, your characterizations, your conceptualizations and so on can act as evocative. It means can arouse my feeling, persuade me to do the same thing as you did. So in this way, we cannot reject the mystical descriptions and so on. If Mullah Sadra or Ibn Arabi or any other mystics tried their best, did their best to describe the reality by different, concepts, not because they want to say these concepts are adequate enough, not because these concepts are adequately can show and explore the content and the depth of the reality. No, only I think to evoke you, to persuade you, to arouse you, to somehow to set you in the same way, to move you, to motivate you in the same way. Otherwise, I don't know whether you are, anyway, if you were in ecstasy, if you lost your self-consciousness, I don't know what happened to you, what occurred to you, what changes, for example, were made in the depth of your experience and so on. You have nothing except you have no choice except to describe it. So description, I think, needs apparatus. The characterizations needs the concepts. These concepts, so the more, I think, the deeper a mystic is in philosophy, the better explanations and the better characterizations and descriptions will be made by him. So those who have not studied philosophy, or let us say in this way, those, because philosophy, I think, by nature is not the matter of studying and reading and writing or discussing actually. Philosophy, this is, if we are now discussing about the rationality and philosophy, again, I want to somehow to motivate you to do philosophy. I mean, to involve yourself, to engage yourself in the same idea. Otherwise, I cannot, in a way, convey the content of my experience or my understanding to you. Just evoke you, just to persuade you. I think the value of philosophy, the traditional philosophy in this, nothing else. So deeper, if somebody has a good concepts, multiple concepts, he can give an adequate the descriptions and characterizations of the reality. But still, I wanted, in answering your questions, the original questions, the first question, the dilemma, I think maybe in the last analysis we cannot solve the dilemma, in the sense that one and many, you said philosophers could not explain it adequately, how these multiple things are related to the first source and ground of being. But again, I can return somehow the objections to somebody else. I mean, the advocates of Sufisms and mysticisms. You know that the truth is one, and the being is one, the real is one. But this one has many manifestations. I cannot deny that. Multiple manifestations. So I, you, whatever else, everything, the earth, the plains, the skies, the heavens, everything else, these are the signs of God. These are the manifestations of God. So multiple manifestations from one thing. How is it possible? From one single, unique, original source, different manifestations proceed. Different, you see, expression, different self-disclosures. How is it possible? If you can solve the problem, so theologians also can solve the problems and the way these multiple things are related to that things. And still, about the, just have your questions in your mind. Do not forget, just to finish my explanations. And when we say God is one and many, when we apply oneness and unity about God and God, here one is not one in number.
It is many. What is?
Many in number.
One is number is not in number.
Many.
What is in number?
Yeah, many in number.
They must be the same level to K comparison.
Yeah, but we can add. We cannot. Not only one in. We don't say. That's why sometimes we say unicity. God's unicity. We don't say unity. Unicity, ahadiyat, is deeper one than that. That's why in Farsi or in Arabic we say wahdat haqqi haqiqiyya. It means the true, real unity or unicity. The true, real unicity. It means always we add concept upon concept so that we convey the message that this one cannot be two. This is not possible to be multiple and so on. Yeah, this is of course clear.
I must mention that, as we know, I think that Mullah Sadra have a kind of resolution for this problem, the connection between the unity and the multiplicity, by his innovative idea of authenticity of being. I mean that when he speak about the being, and he's claimed that everything is being, and everything and being in each of its level, and I mean that martabe is Yes, and out of each levels, being in a special feature, becoming a kind of a special essence, and I think that Mullah Sadr get a good answer to this problem. I think.
Yeah, he, of course, it is claimed that he had a good answer to the problem. In fact, Mullah Sadr at the beginning, he was pro-essentialisms. So he earnestly advocated the essentialisms and the ideality or unreality of the being. And later, he says, he developed the idea of fundamental reality of being, or as we say in Arabic, asalatul wujud. So it means the beings is something's real, being is something's authentic, or let us say principality or principiality of being, of existence. It means being is not the construct of my mind. Being is not only idea in my mind. Being is something real in the world. And then Mullah Sadr, in his well-known explanation about the structures of being and the scale of reality, he believed that the God is unlimited and infinite being, and then there are finite beings, so stages of being. But one is necessary, the other are possible, finite, dependent, temporarily, or spatial, and something like that. So, at the beginning, at first glance, it seems that he solved the problem. He solved the problem in the sense that as you said, so everything is being. God is being. I have my own being and reality, you have your own being and reality, and so on. But again, Mullah Sadr, on the pinnacle of his explanations and philosophizations or rationalizations, he actually advocates the theory of the individual unity of being. Still, he says, as we say, for example, God cannot create God. From God cannot be, brought about, cannot be existentiated. Also, from being, cannot another being be existentiated and brought about. Because he says, God is infinite. If it is infinite, there is no room for other beings to be. If one being is infinite, has no limit, yeah? If it is infinite, is there any room for other beings to be? If it is all-encompassing, you say, all-encompassing. It is all-encompassing means nothing else can be in the exact sense of the term, unless you understand by being and reality something else. And this is, we know that Ibn Arabi also, he believed also in the individual unity of being. Mullah Sadr also, in the pinnacle, as I said, in the last analysis, he also believed that there is a individual unity of being, and the rest of them only are manifestations, are disclosures of God, self-communication, self-revelation,